Hi guys, this is Lutin, and today I'm going to be looking at Star Citizen. It's a title that's been in development for some time now, and I was made aware of it by subscribers over the past 10 months. Now today I'll be giving you a full rundown of the game and everything you need to know. Star Citizen is a massively ambitious title, and if it pulls off what it's promising, it looks to be an amazingly exciting concept. It's a sandbox open space sim sited in a rich, vast universe and built around the Crysis CryEngine 3. The game will focus on everything from merchants to epic PMC space battles and criminal pirates, scavenging and hijacking cargo. It will feature both offline single player and online MMO functionality. I've spent some time reading and researching the Star Citizen universe, and it's looking to be one of the biggest PC releases of the past few years. Up to this point, the game has been entirely crowdfunded, one of the largest in history, with the figures now over $37 million, and is looking at a full release for 2015. It's been largely thanks to a dedicated community that Star Citizen has been possible, and if you're interested in getting into the alpha stage of the game, you can pledge to help support the team and get on board this year and participate in the game's live development. And from talking to players this week, if you wanted a simplistic analogy to get your head around what the game represents, then it bears some comparison to Assassin's Creed Black Flag in a very basic sense, with ship-to-ship combat, large vessel boarding, and combined first-person combat and ground forces an integral part of the systems. Chris Roberts is the driving force behind Star Citizen and is well known for the Wing Commander series. Now, Star Citizen will focus its story in the 30th century around the UEE, United Earth Empire, and you as a player are as yet uncommitted to a citizenship, hence the title. You will have to earn whichever citizenship you choose via various missions and prompts in-game. Now, in the MMO sandbox side, the game itself will feature a detailed economy structure, an in-game marketplace enabling for true and real-time supply and demand situations to arise. This will create a broad and detailed universe for you to create a guild, corporation, organisation, and choose the role you want to play in the universe of Star Citizen. So, if you say a military infrastructure on a planet in your star system is being blockaded by a corporation, its merchant deliveries raided by pirates, then that missile production facility will set a mission for players to break through and deliver supplies to the arms plant. As a result of this, and due to supply and demand, you may then see prices rise or fall dependent on circumstances linked to in-game actions. So if one corporation or guild is buying up resources, there will be a finite supply, and prices may consequently rise around that system as availability becomes less. This will be a negative consequence for some, but for merchants, for example, the rewards gained by delivering supplies would increase. Being aware of these changes around the system will be highly important for profit making, whatever your role, be it a merchant, PMC, or even a criminal. You'll be able to create your own organisation with its own identity and a guild structure. You can create a corporation, a PMC, a faith, or a syndicate. Now a core, that's going to be mercantile, okay? A PMC will be like a core, but military. A faith is going to be cult based, and a syndicate will be a criminal organisation. Within this, you then have roles that need to be fulfilled as your requirements are going to dictate, such as officers, financiers, soldiers, resource explorers, and these are going to be fully customizable, so that you can create any roles that you want held in your organisation. Ranks will be editable as well, just based on a tier system. You'll be able to define jobs for specific roles in your group and then assign these. You'll be able to create divisions to create a corporate or militarised structure, and the purpose of this is to enable you to create an organisation as small as 5 or 10 players up to 500 or more, even thousands of players. You'll have additional tools such as recruitment, branding, organisation management and visual charts. All these elements will enable you to run and establish your group and run it in a very detailed or a very simplistic way, dependent on your goals and prerogatives. Communication is of course always important, and you'll be able to post updates on your organisation pages to inform others of key events. You could post notifications live in game to make people aware of unfolding events as they happen in real time. Private chat and forums, this will be created in game guild pages, so you can keep your private matters open only to members of your guild or clan, like you would in any MMO guild or clan. And then of course you'll have events calendars, things like this, so that people can see what noted events are coming up and people can efficiently organise to attend events in game. The game itself will not be a subscription based service, nor will it be a free to play, pay to win model. Chris Roberts stated recently that he dislikes games which hamper your gameplay and then forcibly encourage you to spend money in order to better it. Now, right at this moment, if you pledge to support Star Citizen by purchasing a ship, this is supporting the development of the game. But when the game is released, ships will not be able to be purchased with real world money. Instead, you can purchase in-game credits as well as being able to buy credits to allow you access to in-game items faster, but Roberts himself said that in a design like Star Citizen, earning money in-game, that is the whole point of the game. That should be fun. That shouldn't be boring, grinding stuff. You're doing missions to earn money and running and doing trade runs. That's the whole core game mechanic, and that should be fun, not grinding. Now, in essence, what he is saying is that you'll be able to buy credits to purchase items if you're really that desperate to do so with real money. But earning credits to buy items and ships in-game is the entire core of the game, and he clearly wants this to be an enjoyable experience and not a miserable heel-dragging grind fest. And you know, that's something that has always been a bit of a downer for me on MMOs, is that horrible grind. If they're focusing, you know, the game in a way that enables you to not have to do that but still maintain skill levels, that's really exciting. He also then goes on to explain that everyone has different time available to play, as we know, so someone who may not have 20 hours a week available to play the game might want to spend some in order to give themselves a small boost, but this won't mean that they can immediately have a first class tier 1 ship that will destroy anything it sees. In fact, in Star Citizen, the ships and designs centre around very much a rock, paper, scissors model, so one ship that's kitted out for lightweight exploration you may be able to destroy easily, but your ship will be limited in other ways and you may be outmatched by a more defensive vessel. In addition to that, the Newtonian physics of the game will mean that even if you do own an expensive big ship with heavy weapons and shielding, this will mean it will likely be not as manoeuvrable as something like a pirate fighter, so there's every possibility that an assault made by multiple smaller ships with skillful pilots could definitely inflict critical damage on a ship which may seem challenging but doesn't have that right set of gear to defend against a specific engagement. What it boils down to is that you have the opportunity to earn everything you need to in game, but should you want to boost yourself a little, you have the option to spend some of that hard cash to pick up an extra thruster or cannon to complete your ship that night instead of doing a few more missions. It all comes down to player choice, and there are, as with everything, pros and cons. But I think that the way they're approaching it is the right way to do things. They're also putting in place restrictions on how many credits you can acquire at the max to prevent players hoarding early on, as well as an insurance system to limit your ship's losses should you come out the worst for wear, and that's one of the things that I'll be covering in more detail in future videos. Now, it goes without saying that ships will be a major feature of the game, and from what we see in the early pre-alpha stages, these are some of the most advanced designs we have seen, and this is far from release level readiness. The amount of customization and control with your ships is going to be highly detailed, from changing out weapons, thrusters, engines, shielding and other custom tools such as tractor beams. They've even gone so far as to create branded production models of ships which then break down into multiple variants for specific functions, such as stealth infiltration, scout tracking and space superiority with heavy weapons. Others, such as the Avenger, will provide a base platform that you can build your custom craft around whichever role it is that you want to play in the game. The game even goes beyond this though, bringing in true physics and highly detailed craft orientation, meaning if you take damage on a critical system, it could have devastating consequences, and the change in control for you could be felt immediately. This is important because it means, You could have a ship that is maxed out in terms of shields and weaponry, but if you take an unlucky hit on a critical thruster, you could find yourself outplayed by a ship of much more lightweight standing. Another really interesting example could be choosing to drop your cargo in the interests of saving your ship by getting away much more quickly. Pirates may not want to actually risk a confrontation and instead just threaten you to drop your cargo and run. These choices in game will provide for exciting and dynamic gameplay. Ship control and customization is something that I'm also going to be covering in more detail in upcoming videos. Now, the graphics in Star Citizen are one of the multiple alluring aspects of the game, and Chris Roberts is well known for being a large advocate of PC gaming, and this game is not just about creating an amazing product, but it's about making a statement of here is what PC gaming can produce, and then what have you got that can stand up against this. Now, every game is going to vary on its polygon count, but for a current example, Mass Effect's original character was around 20,000 polygons. Crysis 3 character, that'd be around 60,000, and up-to-date Rise Son of Rome around 80,000 polygons. Star Citizen characters are going to feature a poly count of 100,000. A small fighter is going to come in around 300,000, and for a Space Fleet cruiser seen in the trailer, the Bengal cruiser, is around 7 million polygons. Now, it's worth noting that from your point of view, the actual amount of polygons you see dependent on your position and distance from that object will of course vary and then be subject to diminishing returns. This simply means that every time you increase the poly count, the percentage different you see back becomes less. But regardless of this, it simply goes into strengthening support for the fact that Star Citizen is on course to be something very, very special indeed. I know many people will be asking, what do I need to run Star Citizen, can my PC handle it? And it does go without saying that the game will be fairly graphically intensive. The game right now is in pre-alpha, it has very little if any optimization, and on the site they have got a list for us of minimum requirements for the Hangar module, which I'm going to post for you below. But realistically, you're going to want a medium to high-end system to really get an enjoyable experience out of the game, and if you're really serious, probably go to something like an SLI. But who knows, after optimization and by the time the game actually releases, keep in mind that you may have long periods where there is not actually that much on screen to really push the system, so a medium spec may actually handle all but the most intense situations. But as always, the case with PC gaming, buy the best you can. Chris Roberts has spoken about some of the aspects likely to cause concern to players or people aspiring to join the universe of Star Citizen, and it's all coming together with a philosophy that I personally am really enjoying. Online MMOs have always been something of a double-edged sword for me in that they're highly enjoyable to play, but at the same time often require crazy grinding and massive time commitments to make any sort of constructive progress. Now, it always goes without saying that the more you put into a game, the more you get out of it, but at the same time there are some tweaks that can be addressed to ensure a more enjoyable experience for all, and Roberts is definitely on the ball when it comes to these small but important aspects. He recently stated that he likes the promise of an MMO to the community, but wants to avoid aspects like splintered playing groups that are unable to find a focus for themselves. Constant griefing and grinding to success and all of those sort of aspects of it. He also made note of the impressive way that Demon's Souls merged its single and multiplayer experiences and wanted Star Citizen to emulate that aspect. Giving specific note to player fragmentation, he mentions how in some titles the limitations of instances mean that players can end up unable to join their friends, and so Star Citizen will be one persistent universe server that everyone exists on. You'll never be separated from your friends, and it gives you the choices to team up and adventure together or pursue individual goals at any specific time. I'm going to have more content coming very soon, giving more detail to the system of the multiverse, the detail of its game dynamics, including jump gates, economics, and player development. The world being created in Star Citizen is not just a simple, mission-based environment for players to engage in epic space battles. It's a living, breathing universe with a live economy, and players who all may have different goals in the game. Some players may seek only brutal criminal piracy, some may seek to create massive organisations who control entire sectors and resources. You can fulfil your role on the small scale or as part of a large guild. Obvious comparisons are going to be made to EVE Online, which has until now been the biggest name in online space MMO. But Star Citizen offers this and much more. Its first-person perspective and more intuitive design will have a mass appeal that reaches far beyond, and in some ways will actually bring to life what many have always dreamt and imagined a true space sim to be. I'll have much more to come very soon on Star Citizen as I show my plan and my progress into the game. Also, I break down the ships, the customization, the economy roles, and much more. I will be now supporting this game from here until the release, so if you're looking for a Star Citizen producer to follow this year, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave any questions and thoughts you have as always, guys, and I'll see you next time for more space adventures in the universe of Star Citizen.